Good hello friends, my name is Melanie and welcome back to my channel. So this background may look a little bit familiar. I am back home for a little bit, but that isn't to say that I won't be going back and forth. So you'll still see this background for a little bit, but I'm still working out where I'm going to film in the new apartment. But I did want to get some videos going while I'm still at home, while you still can look at my bookshelves. And with that, I'm going to bring you my final, and I mean it, final book haul of 2020. So like a lot of the rest of BookTube and Bookternet and whatever you want to call us, I bought a lot of books because of quarantine, and I made two really big purchases this year. You guys have already seen part one of it, so I didn't really know what to kind of call part two. So I'm going to call this like a summer book haul because a ton of these books are pretty fun. They're pretty summery, and I actually have read a good chunk of them, so I'm pretty proud. I do want to mention one thing though. I did make one final book outlet purchase, and that is because I had so many points racked up. So I only spent like $10 realistically, and I had a $20 cart, but it's because I had that $10 gift card. So I'm not supporting Book Outlet anymore, no matter how tempting the good prices may be. They haven't made strides that show their support in ways that they should. So I made sure to buy books from at least two authors of color. So with that being said, let's get into this book haul. The first book that I have to mention is The Martian by Andy Weir. You guys saw I read this for both the reading rush and for my English class, and I love this book. If you don't know what The Martian is about, it is about the Ares 3 mission to Mars, and this crew of 6 ends up abandoning Mark Watney on Mars because they get hit with the sandstorm, and they think that Mark is dead because all of his suit says that he's unresponsive and that everything is like out of touch. So they leave him, only to find out 2 months later that NASA had made some imaging and they found out that Mark was alive. He is now known as my, what did I call him? My potato growing dumbass? Yeah, I love Mark Watney. I love this book. I'll talk a little bit more about it in my wrap up for July, but I bought this, love this. As you can see, annotated the crap out of it. I'm really pleased with this. If there's any book that I would recommend for you to purchase, it would be The Martian and one other book that I'll talk about in a little bit. The next is All You Need Is Kill, volumes 1 and 2 by Hiroshi Sakurazaka. I also read this for my sci-fi and speculative fiction, film, and literature class. The movie that this is based off of is called, I don't remember it. Tom Cruise? Is it Tom Cruise? I don't know. I don't remember what it's called. I'll put it somewhere on the screen. But this was adapted into a film, and you guys will see what I think about this and how I felt about the adaptation in the video that I have coming up for this class specifically. But this was a really fun manga. It's the first manga that I've ever owned. I read a lot of graphic novels, but not a manga, so it was really interesting to go backwards as most mangas do, and I did mark it up a couple places that I thought would be relevant for the blog post that I was writing. Okay, there's a slight trend here. Up next was The Giver by Lois Lowry. This is also another book that I bought for my sci-fi class, and it was the first time that I'd read it. I had watched the movie in bits and pieces, but I had never read the book, and to this day I think the movie is better than the book, only because I think the movie enhanced the book in a really great way. So would definitely give this a read. I don't know if I would suggest buying it because it is so short and I still think the movie is better, but it was definitely an interesting read. I don't think it needed 3 other books following it, and I'm not planning on reading the next 3, but a very interesting way of looking at the world. So it makes you think. It's a lot of fun. Don't know if I would have ever bought it if it wasn't for my class. I am kind of on a roll with having already read a bunch of these books, but the next one is How to Be Remy Cameron by Julian Winters. Julian Winters has become almost like an insta-buy author because of Remy Cameron. I think his writing style is really fun. It could be just because Remy Cameron's character is so funny and so unbelievably himself. It's definitely a coming of age story. Hi. Hi. I'm filming. Thank you, Mom. Love you. Thought this was a lot of fun and would highly recommend honestly any of Julian Winters' books. Though I've only read the one, I do have the rest of his books on my TBR to be read soon. So another book that I've already read is Meet Cute Club by Jack Carbon. You guys saw that I read this for the beach readathon. Though I didn't talk too much about it in that vlog, this was so much fun. It is a novella, so it's only around 200 and something pages. And if I'm not wrong, this is self-published. I know Jack Carbon designed the cover himself, which is fantastic. I actually really love this cover. It's super simple and very sweet. Kind of captures the essence of these two characters. We meet Rex and Jordan runs the Meet Cute Club, and Rex works at the bookstore where Jordan goes and purchases the books for said club. He ends up making fun of the club, saying that like, oh, chick lit is, you know, only for chicks, but they read romance novels, they have a great time, and eventually we get a little bit of romance in there. It is a little bit more on the steamy side, if I'm going to be completely honest, but this is just so much fun and I really, really love it. The last book that I'm going to mention that I've already read is Heartstopper Volume 1 by Alice Oseman. I was very kindly gifted this by Eric over at Break Even Books, and this along with another book, which bless his heart, I can't believe he bought me too. I absolutely love this book. I love this graphic novel series. I am doing everything in my power to not continue with the series until the 4th volume is done, because you can read them actively, but there's so much satisfaction from reading them physically like this and seeing the colors, and just, granted it's like blues and whites, but I love this graphic novel series. I will continue to talk about it for the rest of the year, and as Alice Oseman comes out with more books. And the next book that Eric gifted me was Fortuna Sworn by KJ Sutton. BookTube has kind of exploded with this book. I have no idea what this is about, if I'm going to be completely honest. It's like a fae book. We were meant to be seductive. We were designed to lure humans in. Fortuna Sworn is the last of her kind. So like, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it just yet. It's not necessarily a priority at this very moment in time. I may read it for like a readathon or something, but as of right now, I'm kind of just chilling. You know, I'm intrigued, but like not like dying to pick it up, you know? Moving forward, I have a couple of books that I've already kind of taken with me to school. First being the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin, with the first book being The Fifth Season. This is a book that I was planning on reading in July. Why did I say that so weird? In July, but clearly I haven't, or I would have mentioned it earlier, but I bought the entire box set and I am very, very excited to get to this. Don't get me wrong, but it is just so intimidating right now that the idea of reading a chunker like that and it being so confusing from the get-go, which is something I've heard many people say, isn't the most attractive thing that I want in a book right now. Am I hoping to read it in August? Yes. Am I going to pressure myself to read it in August? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But I definitely do want to get to this within the next month or two. I wouldn't mind reading it in September. However, I do start school at the end of August, so we'll see. Up next is The Guest List by Lucy Foley? This was a book that I was supposed to buddy read with my group chat in Instagram. We were supposed to buddy read this like a month ago. I bought the book in June and I don't know, I never read it. I think everybody got busy, and although we were supposed to do this buddy read, it just didn't happen. And honestly, it's okay, life gets in the way. So we'll see how I feel about that, but it'll be something that you guys will see next month. I also bought The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. This was getting a ton of hype, and I think I was going to do kind of like an author taste test for this. I'm still very intimidated by N.K. Jemisin's books, by her writing, so I bought it. Don't know what it's about. There's apparently like a really cool like animated version of the cover that I've seen people do, and that's very exciting. It's currently at my apartment, and I do have plans to read it like for the next half of the year. That's kind of what that immediate TBR is, so I might film like a little something like that for you guys to kind of see what's on that list, but you guys are already kind of hearing some of the stuff on there. Next up is The Boyfriend Project by Farah Rachan. I have literally no idea what this book is about. It's been on so many people's lists as like to be read book by a Black author, and this was definitely part of the purchase for the, like, I forget what the campaign was called, but it was to purchase books by Black authors. But I bought this along with a bunch of other books by Black authors to help promote them, to get them to the top of the bestsellers list, and I was really, really excited that we did get to see a lot of that. And this was something that had been interesting to me. It's dubbed by Jasmine Guillory, which you guys know I love The Wedding Date, and I do have plans to continue with that series. I haven't yet, if I'm gonna be blatantly honest. I need to, because I kind of need some fluffy romance in my life, so I may kind of push this for July or for August, so we'll see what happens. But I am very interested in exactly what this book consists of. It's like going viral, and this app, and a live tweet, and catfishing, and just, it seems like it's going to be a good time, but at the same time it could disappoint me, so I'm kind of nervous. Nonetheless, I am very excited to own this and to finally get around to it. Up next is Normal People by Sally Rooney. This, like every other book I feel like I've bought a lot of like hyped books recently, and Normal People isn't any different. You guys know this is now a Hulu show, and a bunch of people are kind of obsessed with it, it, and this was definitely a booktube made me buy it, but also a bunch of my friends have been like yelling at me to read this book, and so I want to proudly say that it will happen because I've already taken this book with me to school, so it's gonna happen hopefully in August because it is a pretty short book, and then it'll be nice to kind of bring in a short book and cycle it out for another one. The next is Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Barron. This was a book that when I first read the synopsis of it kind of being like The Selection but angstier and angrier, I was all for it. Plus Cinderella was one of my favorite princesses growing up, so it was really cool to see her story reimagined, and I'm so hyped for this book. It's already at school like the rest of the books in this section, and I can't wait to get to it. I'm going to shove it into my August TBR as much as I can, so fingers crossed. And the final book that I have already taken with me to school is Crescent City, or House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. This is the first book in the Crescent City series. Oh my goodness. In the Crescent City series, and I told Amanda that I would read this at the beginning of August so that I have time to sit down and dedicate to it. Things at work have gotten a little bit crazy, so I'm really hoping that I can kind of keep up on that promise, but I'm so excited to get to this book because everybody I know loves it, and I might do a reading vlog dedicated to this book, but is that still relevant? Like, it only came out a couple months ago, but would it be relevant to still do that? I hope so. And finally, we have my book outlet order. Like I said, there's only 4 orders on this list, and I did use a coupon, and this was quite literally a way to just get rid of the points so that they don't expire and I don't waste all of the money that I had spent before, is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. So many people have been reading this chunker. She's real cute. This is my hand. I don't have a very big hand. This is my head. Here it is in comparison to a normal book. So she's cute. I don't know when I'm going to read it, but she's cute. BookTube definitely made this, maybe buy that one, you know. Next is Love from A to Z by S.K. Ali. This is something that T Reads on Instagram made me buy, and I love her dog Charlie, and the amount of times that I have seen Charlie and this book together, it just seemed right, and she's cried multiple times reading this book, so bought this because of her. Very excited to get to it. Don't know when I will get to it, but I want to get to it. Next is You'd Be Mine by Arahan. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. H-A-H-N. Han. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. This was an arc that I got rejected for, so I still really wanted to read the story, so I bought it. That's about it. It like deals with the country, deals with grief. There's supposed to be some love in it. Really hoping it makes me happy, but also it's going to address some difficult topics. So I'm really intrigued in seeing how this is going to be, and it's a lot shorter than I was expecting. And finally, I have We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. I've been trying to learn how to pronounce her name for the longest time, and I'm doing a terrible job of it, but it is Middle Eastern inspired, fantastical. I'm excited. I believe the second book is coming out very soon. I wanted to make sure I hopped on this and read it now, so I may try to push this for my August TBR. If not, it's definitely going to be read in September. So, in typical fashion, here are all of the books that I have bought. Quarantine made me do it, BookTube made me do it, and it'll be the last time I buy books for the rest of the year because my wallet is not happy with me, and I have a percentage tracker in terms of the books that I have bought versus the books that I have read, and it's not a very high percentage. So being someone who has said I want to read books for my physical TBR, I'm not doing a very good job of that so far because I keep adding to it. So hopefully I'll read a bunch more of these by the end of the year. Hi, so Editing Mel here. There are a few books that I didn't mention that I have purchased or acquired, whether it was like through NetGalley or I bought on the Kindle store, that I didn't mention because for some reason in my mind, when I haul books, I only think about the physical ones. So I've left all of the ebooks that I've hauled, whether, like I said, they're Kindle purchases or their NetGalley arcs that I have received over the last couple of months. So all of that is in the description as well. Let me know if you've bought any of these books and if any of them were BookTube made me buy it books. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And until then, I'll chat with you soon.